Welcome back to the second segment. We are going to talk about networks in this segment. The uh, first video segment we are going to see here is by Professor Pedro Santacruz. He's one of our colleagues in the electrical and computer engineering department, and he's going to talk about how failures really drive video quality and how it happens all the time, every second when you're watching videos. And in this fascinating video, he's also going to share a personal failure story which turned into a success. So take it away, Pedro.
Hi everybody, I'm Pedro Santacruz, and I'm an assistant professor of instruction in the Electrical and Computer Engineering department at UT Austin. I teach courses in probability, signals and systems, and algorithms. I am very excited about being able to talk to you today, and I hope you learn a lot about how exciting electrical engineering can be. I want to tell you a story about how in many cases you can use experience you learn when things don't go well to gain very valuable information. My area of interest is communication networks, and one of the biggest communication networks that we're all familiar with is the internet. As networking engineers, one of our goals is to try to find ways to send information as fast as possible. But sometimes networks can become slower, and that poses a problem, especially if, for example, you're trying to watch a video online. As you may know, when you're watching a video online, a lot of video players have a small gear icon in the bottom where you can choose the quality at which your video will be playing. Most of the time, that setting is set to auto. This means that the video player will automatically figure out what is the best quality that it can play your video without interruptions. So how does it do it? Well, it does it by failing. It is usually hard to know for sure how good a specific internet connection is. So what does the software in your video player do? Well, it needs to get that information. To do this, it starts playing at some starting video quality. If that goes well, then it tries to play at a better video quality so that it becomes less pixelated. If that goes well, then it tries an even better video quality. And it keeps going until the quality requested is too much for the connection to handle and it fails. And your video might get a little bit interrupted. At that point, it returns to the previous quality setting and it works fine at the best possible quality for your internet connection. As you can imagine, this is a good way to find what is the best video quality for your internet connection and how much it can support. It is not really failing when it tries for a better quality and then it gets interrupted. It is just learning more information. Your video player could always be on the safe side and always give you pixelated videos that were never interrupted and they were never buffering. But that would not take advantage of the possible fast internet connection that you might have. I have found that this example is a good analogy of how sometimes things have worked out in my personal life. I remember one time during college, I was trying to decide whether or not to apply to a very competitive scholarship. I knew it would be difficult to get, and I knew it would take a lot of time, and I had already a lot of other things going on with my classes. In my mind, I thought, if I spend all this time working on this application, and then I don't get it, it will all be wasted. With the encouragement of some professors, I decided to spend the time and apply. When the results came, it was pretty hard to see that I had not gotten the scholarship. In the moment, it did feel like I had wasted my time and I had failed. What I did not realize at the moment is that as part of the application result, I have gotten feedback about how I could make my application better for the next time. The next year, I decided to apply again, using the notes I had received the previous year. And then I did get the scholarship. That original failure actually was what gave me the information that I needed to not fail again. I hope I have given you some things to think about and realize that failures can always be moments to learn valuable information. Sometimes there is no better way to learn how much you can do unless you keep trying to do more and keep getting more and more information and using it to your advantage. I hope you can remember the little gear at the bottom of the video player and put your efforts in auto so that you can always keep trying for better and better things. And if things ever don't go well, you can just say, I just learned more information and I'm going to use it to get better and better.
Thank you, Pedro. That was fascinating. And now, in the next segment, we'll dig a little deeper into how failures happen all the time in the internet. So imagine that you go to a web page on your smartphone. So you fire up the browser, you click on some web page, and the web page is displayed on your phone or on your device screen. So how does this happen? So let's understand a little bit of the plumbing of the internet. So in this image here is a very, very toy animation of how the internet works. So on one side, we have the web server. That's the gray circle there. And on the other side, is your smartphone. And you need to get data starting from there to your smartphone here. So how does this work? Well, you click on some web page, right? And there's a lot of data there that needs to be delivered to your phone. The internet is essentially a series of pipes for data. Some of these are fat pipes, meaning data can go through very quickly. And some of these are really narrow pipes. Data takes a long time to go through. And there are devices in between which connect these fat pipes and thin pipes together and routes data. Think of it like water from pipes to pipes. And one of that is shown in the middle. This is called a router. Okay. So now we have gotten the basics down. We need to push data through these pipes from one end to the other. The way it works is that this big blob of data, which needs to get to your phone, is broken into little pieces. And these chunks or pieces are called packets. These are these blue squares, which are sort of zipping through, you can see in the image above me. All right, so the web server needs to send these packets of data from where it starts all the way to your smartphone. The smartphone will take these little packets of data, glue it all together, and make it back into the web page, which is what you see on your screen. So the question is, how fast should this data go through? The web server can really throw data into the network really quickly. It has the capability, and perhaps there's a big, really fat pipe that's connecting the web server to the internet. This is natural because the web server is somewhere in the core of the internet, and there are lots of big pipes there. So it can really throw a lot of data into the network very quickly. But somewhere else downstream, in this example here, maybe the pipe that's actually connecting your device, your smartphone, to the internet is a narrow pipe. The web server, of course, does not know that, and that's going to cause a logjam. So what does the web server do? It decides that it's going to learn, and it learns by failure. It starts sending data into the internet slowly and ramps up. So let's look at this graphic here, this red worm, okay? As you can see in this worm, it starts going up, up, up. What does this up red worm mean? The x-axis is time, and the y-axis is at the speed, the rate at which the web server is sending data into the internet. It starts slow and ramps up. It starts increasing. It sends it faster and faster. And what happens eventually? Remember again, there's a fat pipe and a thin pipe which are connected to each other somewhere at the router. So when you think about water, if you take a fat pipe and a thin pipe and join it together, you start sending water into the fat pipe slowly and then ramp up. At some point, there's going to be so much stuff going to the fat pipe, it can't all make it into the thin pipe, and there's going to be a leak. A leak is what happens at the router. Packets drop. And if you look at this graphic above, you'll see now, once in a while, one of these little blue squares just drops off. So in this image right now, you can see packets coming in, these tiny rectangles shooting off from the web server to the router. And watch out for it now. In a second, aha, you saw that. A packet dropped. There's just too much stuff going in. And when the web server realizes that things are too fast, and how does it realize it? There's some loss. The other end, this smartphone says, hey, something didn't come through, tells the web server that. And so the web server immediately slows down. And that's where you see this big spike downwards. So at this point, where are we? We saw that the web server starts increasing till a loss occurs, a failure occurs. And when a failure occurs, one more right now you saw, it suddenly drops and slows down and then again tries. Now, so the way the internet is working essentially is because the web server does not know how fast to send it, it adapts. It starts slow, increases, it sees a loss, adapts, cuts back, and then tries again. So it repeatedly fails. And that's what you're seeing in this sawtooth. Increases, 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 boom, drops, increases, 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 problem, boom, drop, increases. So this repeated failure is at the core of every single internet connection, the billions and billions that are going on right now. And there's a word for this called TCP, or Transmission Control Protocol. I've given you a very simple example of how this works. There are many, many questions you can ask about this now. Why is it that when it's learned that something has failed, maybe it should just stick to that point, just go a little bit below and stay there all the time? That could be something that could work. Why did it actually drop so suddenly? Well, multiple reasons. First, if you move, maybe you'll move to a pipe which is a little broader. So it shouldn't just settle for what it got. It should always try. So that's this philosophy of the sawtooth. Never settle for what you got. Try, drop, and try again. And maybe now there's a different pipe which you're connected to a few minutes later, and that could lead to much higher rates. And so you can get your downloads much faster. So you shouldn't just settle for something. You should attempt again and again. So that's one step. So this is why there's repeated failures that's happening, not just one and settling. The second thing is, if you look at this graph, it's going up rather slowly. But then when a loss occurs, it reacts really suddenly. It drops by a huge margin, as you saw in this video, in the red curve. Why is that? Well, there are two things that are happening: efficiency and fairness. Let's think about these two words separately. What does efficiency mean in this setting? If there's a fat pipe, you'd like to make sure that the fat pipe is used completely. You don't want to just send a trickle of data through it. You want to send a lot of data, which means that you should try to increase all the time. You should try to increase till you try to fill up the pipe. Good. So efficiency, so that's why you need to try to increase. Now, fairness. Remember, in all this discussion, we just thought about your this one web server and your smartphone, which is getting the data from the internet, from the web server. In reality, there are billions of flows which are all sharing this router and this pipe. Now you go on increasing the rate until the rate became so large that it led to a loss. Remember, again, these blue things falling off. And when this loss occurs, you have jammed up this pipe. And when you jam up this pipe, everybody suffers, not just you. It's a jam for all the other millions of people who are sharing this pipe. And so lots of people are suffering. So one way to make sure that you relieve this jam as quickly as possible is to decrease, not just a little bit, but by a lot, so that this becomes unclogged and everybody else starts getting good service as well. So in summary, what you'd like to do in the internet for efficiency is try to ramp up, but slowly and gradually, till a failure happens. And when a failure does happen, you want to drop the rate at which you transmit so that you unclog it for everybody. And then again, try again, because you never know. You may find a bigger, fatter pipe to get your data through. And this is, in essence, how the internet works. And this is called congestion control.
It's so fascinating, Sanjay. And as you tell the story, it really makes me think about all of the different ways I could think about experimenting with different variations of protocols to try to achieve better performance or fairer performance, or just more efficient delivery of packets. And that there's so many opportunities to continue to just try new things with kind of the expectation that failure is baked into them. So that was fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.